What's the word with it? Hey, it's your boy Classic from Classic Live. And we got an interesting story going on tonight. Before you get started, I'm going to need y'all to do two things. Hit that like, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? If you're on a different platform, also do what you got to do. Hit that retweet button, follow, subscribe if you haven't done so. But man, we got some updates, man. We got some crazy updates with your boy David. Hey, and for those that don't know, David is a 21-year-old singer and songwriter. He's known for his songs like Romantic Homicide and Here With Me. Originally a Fortnite streamer from Houston, and he gained a lot of popularity around like 2022 on TikTok. You feel me? So that's a little brief backstory of him. But recently, a lot of people have been knowing him for the fact that he's been involved in the unalivement of a young woman by the name of Celeste. And allegedly they had a relationship together. So, a lot of this stuff is kind of murky. A lot of people are already putting him as one of the people that's responsible for this because she was found inside of his Tesla trunk. So, the body was there for a long time. And people saying that it's very suspicious that, she ended up being unalived in the presence of David. Now, I got a video, man. I didn't start on it. I just clicked on it and I was like, oh snap, we got an update. So Trap Lord Ross did an update video and he's been dropping some bombs with some information and everything. So I think we're gonna have to get into that, man. We're gonna have to react to that video because Trap Lord Ross definitely know what's going on with the situation. He's been deep diving into this, and yeah, we're gonna have to check this out. So let me get the settings for this video together real quick. I don't like it like that. You know what I'm saying? Do I have it like that? Well, yeah, we could rock it like that for sure. But yeah, like I said, so man, hey, before we get started, if y'all haven't done so, I'm gonna need y'all to hit that like, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? Turn me up real quick. Now let's get to it.
More and more sordid. I did a big update for you guys where I did a full breakdown of the new timeline that private investigator Steve Fisher put out there. We filled in a few of the gaps and really built up a very terrifying picture of what was going on in between the alleged murder and the dismemberment. It seemed like there were a lot of promotional activities. David flew out to play shows while the body was, I guess, in some people's opinion, still in his house, could have already been in the car. It looks like he came back from shows to chop up the body. It's insane. But what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to break down the timeline again, but from a different perspective, because in this video, we're going to look closer at the timeline as far as how long did David actually plan this murder? Yes, we now know that he has been charged with murder. It seems to be that there are official allegations that he was in a relationship with this underage minor, Celeste.
I'm not going to lie. It's kind of crazy to say that he's actually the one that's planning all this stuff. He's not even saying allegedly. So there got to be some damning evidence. They also said that they found some underage type of material in his phone. And all those type of things add up to the fact that he could be guilty of doing these heinous crimes that they accusing him of. They say that you're innocent until proven guilty, but with this situation, man, I think there's a lot of evidence out there that kind of put him on the spot to where he can be found like liable for all this stuff. So, yeah, man.
We can deduce that from a lot of the information we've seen around, but now we have officially got it from the authorities that that's what was going on. But it makes you wonder, when did he plan to kill her? A lot of theories that have been going around is that actually their relationship ended around like September, October 2024. Maybe they were broken up for a few weeks and David might have reconnected. There might have been some threats. Allegedly, one of the special conditions of the charges is that David murdered a witness to an investigation. That investigation was an investigation into David messing with minors. So he had a motive to take her out. He wanted to protect his lucrative music career. But the question is, when did it happen? He was accused of lying in wait, setting up a trap, inviting her to the crib, and then ambushing her and murdering her. But when did the decision made for him to actually kill her? I don't know for sure, but in this video, we will basically be taking a closer look and trying to get to the bottom and looking at some theories as to when actually he planned to do this horrible, horrible thing. So
now, before we proceed with that, you know, a lot of people that we talked about the situation before, they were saying that allegedly Celeste was about to expose David about the relationship that they had. So, you know, with him being on the rise of, you know, new fame and everything, that can definitely be a reason why he will go ahead and make sure she get up out the way. So it's crazy, man. Hey, shout out to D Love in the building, man. Yeah, like this situation is very crazy.
But as you can see here from the criminal complaint, okay, it basically gives a couple of clues that I think are really interesting, because what's very, very interesting about this breakdown is that essentially, you know, it says the period of continual essay to this minor occurred on or between September 7th, 2024 and September 7th, 2023 and 2024. Now, that's her birthday, interestingly enough. And there were rumors that he'd actually first met her on her birthday, I think perhaps potentially the year before.
Yeah, I think this new timeline is going to explain a lot of stuff. And it's going to kind of put him in the hot seat. I ain't going to lie.
Especially because like this.
But it seems to suggest that perhaps their relationship ended after her birthday in 2024. Now, I don't know for sure, but I do think that this date, the fact that it isn't on or between September 7th, 2023, all the way up to April 20th or 23rd, 2025, that makes me think that perhaps there is some proof that the relationship actually ended. But even more dark, the plot to murder her must have occurred sometime from September 8th to April 2023. And we need to get to the bottom of exactly when this plan was made. So an alleged Discord message has been circulating from somebody claiming to know Celeste, and basically claiming the two were actually no longer together in December of 2024. So this is a very interesting Discord message. It says, last time me and Celeste talked, she was drunk and spam calling David. What's going on with that?
Wait, so if this is in 2024, and it says that David is 21, that's interesting. But still, like, he would still be legal, you know, depending on birthday and everything. But as far as Celeste, no matter how you slice it, she will still be, you know, under legal age. So it's no way that you can put it that he was basically doing the right thing. Like how do that go when somebody is barely 18 and then they're dealing with somebody that's, well, honestly, like, yeah, it's simple and plain. They're not of age. So, you know, that you can't do that. You know, they have laws in place for that. So it don't look good at all. And I've seen something where they said like David's own brother said that he need to get him up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like permanently. So could that just be a bitter sibling, or he's just actually knowing how much of an alleged POS David is? You feel me? So that's pretty wild. Let's keep it going though.
Spam calling David. They have matching tattoos from when they dated. David used to have pictures of her up on his Instagram, but after they broke up, he took it off. Only thing throwing me off is the age. I'm just going to assume she lied about her age to everyone in our friend group back then, because they did date, and then 2 days after that call with me and her, she deleted her whole account. Pictures 2 also looks just like her. No way it's another Hispanic Celeste with the same curls face and everything. It doesn't make the same sense. It doesn't make sense, okay? People saying it gets to a point with coincidences. Now, I think that's very interesting. And it's clear that the breakup took place. Now, here's where I think that there is a very, very good case to make for David doing a cover-up and David planning this murder and basically not being pushed because he made this decision himself and is disgusting, allegedly. But as far as the circumstances that begun to brew where he felt like the only way out of this was murder, okay? It's not acceptable, but I'm just trying to make you understand how this depraved PDF.
Now, if that's the case, if he felt like that was the only way to get up out of this, you know what I'm saying? D Love is looking like, it don't look too good, you know what I'm saying? But look, if he felt like this was the only way to get up out of this, you already know that you was doing something very suspicious that you shouldn't have been doing. So that's already, showing signs that you had a guilty conscience, bro. Like, it's crazy. I can't believe, like, one of the things that I found kind of very suspicious and crazy, I know that they had to get evidence, but the amount of time that it took for any type of law enforcement to get involved, it took them 8 months, almost a full year. I know you have to gather evidence, you don't want to ruffle feathers to where people can flee and all that stuff, but I think that took a very long time. And another thing that everybody is questioning, what's up with the parents? What's up with the parents? Now that they're saying that they think he should get that penalty, you feel me? But where were they during all of this transpiring? I know if your kid is running away and stuff like that, being a parent, let's just start it right here. Being a parent, I know is very difficult. As they say, children don't come with an instruction manual, but if your child is being difficult like that, wouldn't you try to go above and beyond to make sure that they get the proper help that they need? Because if you don't do that, people are going to start looking at you. It's like, all right, well, why is this young girl running away, fleeing from their parents, their safe haven, to be with somebody else? So it's just like, there's a lot of questions that needs to be answered. For real. And D Love said, spot on, target. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really irks my fucking nerves to see this going on. And even if it's not simping or anything, but even if this girl is a young girl trying to figure out life, people mature as they get older. But the unfortunate situation, she haven't even had the opportunity to mature now. The mistake that she made by getting with this guy, allegedly, it proved to be very fatal. Now, what D-Love say? Unless her safe haven wasn't her safe haven. Exactly. D-Love spot on. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very, very suspicious why this young girl, as they said, kept leaving where she was supposed to be at. So let's keep it pushing, y'all.
Murderer might have been thinking. So it's saying if they broke up, all right, they were together, she was drunk calling, they broke up, all right, and they're basically saying that would have been the December. Now, this is when we get to this infamous image. Now, I believe it's believed that this picture was taken around December the 14th, 2025. This is the image that allegedly shows David paying off other kids that knew Celeste. It says, this was the pic bro showed me, I'm not capping. And that is David in a parking lot in Lake Elsinore. It's been geolocated. He's literally handing money over to kids, allegedly, for them to stay silent. Now, I wonder if this is a situation where they broke up.
Yo. See, that's what I'm saying. It's not much that you can do to paint a different narrative. What are you doing over there paying these kids? And if it was you doing a good deed, I'm pretty sure they would have been out debunking all the stuff. So yeah, man, it's like the title said, this new timeline is proving that he planned everything. So this don't look too good for partner.
He needed to keep this a secret for his career. He had loose ends. He's doing anything he could to try and make this go away. He's paying off friends. If that didn't work, after this December link up, that's when he might have decided to murder her. He might have actually crafted a whole narrative of bringing her back, getting her comfortable, and then murdering her, because we saw them together on New Year's Eve 2024 going into 2025. But this was just a few weeks before. So if they're broken up in December and she's deleting all of her Instagram, then he's pulling up to Lake Elsinore in his Tesla, handing out money to these teens that know stuff about it. It's not adding up, right? It's not making too much sense. Or it is making too much sense. It's not making sense why he would be doing this, but it is making sense why, if this payoff approach didn't work out, that he would then feel like, okay, well, we're going to have to go to plan Z, which is unfortunately, murder. So obviously people geolocated this. It's Lake Elsinore. We know it's Lake Elsinore. That's another picture of him getting out of his car, walking over to them, same fit in
Monkey
Lake Elsinore.
Bot?
It's been geolocated with the telephone poles. And it says popular artist David giving kids over $1,000 to keep a secret, and it involves a minor. December the 14th, 2024.
Yeah, you giving hey, shout out to Monkey Bot for pulling up, man. I appreciate you. And shout out to D Love for pulling up also. Now you giving random students a G-ball, a stack to be quiet? Like, come on now. Hey, I appreciate it. Monkey Bot said this the best part of my day. Hey, I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that, homie. Now, David, he's gonna have a lot of explaining to do, bro. Like, it don't look right by the optics. And if people were lying about this, then I'm pretty sure, like I said earlier, people that came forth on this. So, yeah, man. The dude's 21, so he can't be. He might be crazy allegedly, but he ain't no mastermind like that to where he can get away with, unaliving somebody without, recovering all his tracks and not being caught on this. Like, as they say, man, and I said this before, and I keep saying this over and over again. Whatever is done in the dark is going to come to the light. So you might as well just try to live. We're not going to live a perfect life, but try to stay close to the truth. Because you're going to get exposed regardless. Man, Monkey Ball said, I low-key forgot about this whole situation. And that's what I was saying a little bit earlier. It's crazy that it took them almost a whole year to get this dude locked up. And, this young girl lost her life. So, let's keep it pushing, y'all.
That's when it was taken. So we know that now. What's really weird is obviously the rumor was that they were broken up and he was trying to cover this up. But, okay, here's the thing. On December the 30th, 2024, just before New Year's Eve, all right, David and Celeste would be photographed together in downtown LA. And these were pictures that Steve Fisher apparently got from the property. I guess the LAPD didn't search it quite well enough. And Steve Fisher, the private investigator, shout out to him, I hope I'll meet him soon. He found pictures on an SD card in the property and he posted them. All right. I don't think the LAPD were too happy about this, but shout out to Steve because he's putting that info out. They got that work. Said on the night of December 30th through to the morning of December 31st, 2024, David and Celeste were together in downtown Los Angeles, where several photos were taken in public. Celeste was 14 years old at the time, about 70 miles from her home in Lake Elsinore. Whether she was sober that night was open to interpretation, but there's photo evidence of them together again on January the 2nd, 2025. Then on January 8th, Sizable Crew was filming a music video with David out of state. And by January the 11th, David is in his hometown in Texas. On January the 20th, 2025, he's on a Delta flight. Question is, where was Celeste between January 3rd and January 20th? Can anyone account for her during that time? There were many people present at the music video shoot. Did anyone see her there? What about his hometown in Texas? Does anyone even have any proof of life for Celeste Rivas Hernandez after January the 2nd, 2025? There she is.
Man, that's crazy. What we got some comments, man. What you say, man? Okay, you said you low-key forgot. Man should have taken 1 month, not a whole year. Hey, 1 month, you know what I'm saying? We understand that, they got to collect their evidence and make sure that they get the right person where they don't set off any, triggers to where people can actually flee that they haven't got to. But yeah, like a whole year. That's what I'm saying. That's the crazy part about it. Literally a whole year. Like that don't make no damn sense, bro. Hey, and salute to everybody that's watching on different platforms. If y'all haven't done so, like I said, hit that like, man. Subscribe, follow, retweet, do what you got to do, man. Yeah, Monkey Bot, it took hella long, bro.
Right? They was together. He had this knife, and this knife matches the description of the knife that was used to kill her. All right? It is what it is.
Hey, and we were just talking about this on the other video as far as because we heard some graphic detail that they said that, the dude did some stuff to her fingers. He did some stuff to her eyes. And we were guessing, like, what type of object was he using? Some people were saying that it was an ice pick, but Trap Lord Ross just said that he had a knife. So I wouldn't be surprised. Nah, I don't got that right now, Monkey Bot. I'm gonna get on that though for sure. And probably Rumble also. But yeah, allegedly, I guess that's the whole item that he was using. Now, is that possible? The knife looked kind of small, but shit, it's possible.
This creepy barn. A lot of very unusual unanswered questions. Now, interestingly enough, during that night, you know, we saw that picture of David holding the knife, and I believe there were even other pictures of the knife. Right, there it is. I'm not going to lie to you people. I think that was the knife used to kill her. I think it was. That's just my opinion. All right. Everything's alleged opinions, but that's my opinion. Okay. And SF posted, he said, David, were you sitting on this hill next to a drainage gully thinking about what you did to her? Were you thinking about how it looked and sounded when you sawed her body into pieces? Steve's doing a little too much with that caption, but hey, we like holding David's little tiny feet to the fire. And so basically the day after that, on the official New Year's Eve, December the 31st, 2024, that's when David and Celeste were actually seen partying with members of David's inner circle. Okay, so there would be this going around. SF put out a full post with more pictures, said on December the 31st, 2024, at around 10 p.m., several people were at David's house. Although Celeste Rivas Hernandez is not clearly visible in any of the photos from that evening, we believe she was present. The iPhone she had previously been pictured with appears to match the phone case seen on the table, along with a Hello Kitty mug. Another photo, which appears to have been taken by David, shows what are likely Celeste's fingers on a bottle. The phone that's likely Celeste's appears to be on the Wi-Fi settings screen and connected to the Wi-Fi network, even though iPhones use a private Wi-Fi address feature. The address remains fixed for a specific network, meaning it stays the same each time the device reconnects to that router.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm calling it now. He's going to be cooked. They're gonna find a way to link him to all of this because, you know, like I said before, it seems suspicious that he is caught in the middle of all this, but I believe that they're going to put a lot of the evidence together to where they get a conviction on him. Now, the homie that I had on the other day, he was saying that, you know, he wouldn't be shocked that they walk away, but I highly doubt that. I know he has a little bit of money, but I don't think he had that much money to get away with that, bro. Monkey Bot said, you should low-key play 2K on stream. Man, for sure. Hey, if I get a couple of people, if you tell some people, then I'll do it, bro.
Hopefully, law enforcement investigators have reviewed the router logs to determine exactly when Celeste's phone and everyone else's phones were connected to the home Wi-Fi network and compared that information against the statements each person provided about when they were at the house and who else was there, including Celeste. For example, if individuals in the photos, including these photos and many others, claim they did not see Celeste or were not at the house, yet the router logs show their phone was connected to the Wi-Fi, that would raise serious questions. We cannot forget about Celeste or the justice she deserves. It's now been more than 5 months and no charges have been filed. Now they have. The last photo of Celeste is not from that night. It's from another time and meant to show her phone to compare with the phone on the table. So I'll show you these pics, these images.
Yeah, I think it's GG for David, man, for sure. GG for David. Good game, bro, because it's over.
Something from under the desk because my feet are cold. And look, we got...
Hey, if I'm not mistaken, this is his homeboy that they said that allegedly, you know, had some type of involvement as far as concealing her body. He got some knowledge, and I believe that he is going to be somebody that give up some information, some damning information that will get some type of conviction. Mark my words.
Neo there toasting up a bottle. Says most likely Celeste is taking this photo and that's her phone. You could also see the Hello Kitty mug there. David's hitting a vape, right? I don't know if he's going to be getting any vapes in the county. But anyway, they're saying that's Celeste taking the photo. Oh, sorry, that's David taking the photo. And the little yellow circle on the right-hand side there would seem to suggest that that actually might be Celeste's hand. And then we've got the next image, which is sort of a zoomed in close-up of the phone on the Wi-Fi. And shout out to Steve Fisher. Honestly, I feel like my guy Steve Fisher needs to be in the official LAPD detective department because realistically, he is doing exceptional police work. Okay, if you think I'm a snitch investigator, Steve got the goods. Steve low key, he actually deserves kudos for taking down David. But anyway, my foot heater is now activated. So that is Celeste there. I don't know if that picture was taken on the same day, but it's a bad look. And so within a day or two of this, we would be seeing another picture on the timeline January the 2nd, 2025, David and Celeste would actually be seen at the Los Angeles National Forest, and there would be a bunch of pictures going around. And it was very, very interesting and coincidental. It says David wrote an interesting word in the picture he took in early 2025, coinciding with the billboard. Put this up, all right? This says she could mean Japanese kanji for death. If you turn this upside down, this high looks like 14, which would have been her age. David put, my site is beautiful. And then this was posted as well. So he posted this after New Year's. They reset this in LA. I want to go and see this at some point. But it's a list of how many smoking deaths are caused. And he said death from smoking on his Finsta. And this is when we're starting to get more people giving their theories on how premeditated this murder was. It says it's becoming more and more apparent that David likely premeditated and planned everything, and Celeste was unalived earlier in the year. It's getting more obvious based on various details. The pictures David took of the rock that says hi, which later Jin, big shout out to her for finding these amazing things, reverted the picture and noticed the number 14, which was Celeste's age at the time. It's possible that David intentionally used the word she. The letter S is unfinished on purpose, and not the other words on the rock. The Japanese she means death. The number 4 is also pronounced shu in Japanese, meaning it's the same word for death and making it a symbol of bad luck. David also has the number 4 in his name. Holy shit, I didn't actually clock that ever. That's crazy. Every year, the billboard resets to 0 at midnight on New Year's Eve, and in David's video of the smoking deaths billboard, it displayed the number 1813 deaths, which was posted on January 2nd, 2025, with a Japanese caption that translates to death from smoking. Very likely the same day where they were together and taking pictures at the beach, the National Forest area, and Baldwin Hills. The smoking deaths board, him putting out Japanese heartbreak and goodbye songs on his Insta post, and David writing.
Hey, one of the things that I find very funny or very suspicious, like if you had any type of involvement in this, why would you have to make public, documentation with different photographs, encrypted messages, and all this other stuff? Like, wouldn't that be something that you'll want to keep to yourself until your death? Like, it's crazy how social media really have people feel like they got to tell and explain everybody whatever that they're going through in life. And this situation proves, or it shows, that this is another scenario to where people can't hold water. Like, what's the purpose of you making these encrypted messages? Or let's play devil's advocate. Do you think people are just reading into this too much? I don't think so. I really think a lot of this stuff is damn. You got these people that's looking at these photographs that this guy is putting on social media, and then now we see that this case is happening, and this is the first thing that they go into. So that's why they say, like, the internet is undefeated. There's no way that you can scrub the internet of anything if you put it up there. And so you see this time and time again with multiple people. They feel like they just got to upload any and everything that they go through, and then now it comes to bite them in the ass.
The word she on the rock. Seems like no coincidence he purposefully left all of this. David continued posting in Japanese on this Instagram account until January 28th. He posted about feeling abhorrently sad of late. After that, he stopped posting altogether until May, which strongly suggests that Celeste was no longer with us by then. Okay. Interesting. So after this, all right, that's when we get to what would have been allegedly Celeste's last known photograph. And it was on a camera that was apparently owned by David. And this potentially means that David didn't see Celeste in the days leading up to the murder, because the last time that David was seemingly pictured with Celeste was on January the 2nd. So it sounds like he pulled her back into his orbit for New Year's. They linked up, they hung out, they did their thing. He's out here posing with a knife. They're going into the woods. I don't know if this was him planning it out. And then by the end of January, he's talking about he's been so sad and he can't post. But she's still alive until April. And it makes me think maybe she was going to expose him. He paid off the friends. He got back with her thinking he's going to control her. He's going to control the situation. Things went left. He was abhorrently sad at the end of January. And at some point, he must have concocted the plan to entice her back in April and get rid of her. Maybe he was threatened. Maybe the friends weren't keeping as quiet as they'd been paid to be. But yeah, so this says 1 year ago today, January the 2nd, 2025, the last known photo date that Steve Fisher's investigation has uncovered of Celeste. It's important to emphasize law enforcement investigators have access to more extensive resources and very well may have images or evidence from after this date. So That's not to suggest anything specific happened on that date, only that it's the last confirmed time and date stamped piece of evidence I have showing when Celeste was still alive. According to the image's metadata, the photo was taken at 5:05 p.m. on January the 2nd, 2025. Geolocation analysis says it was taken in Baldwin Hills, California. So it says after this, all right, David would post more photos to his social media on January the 3rd, 2025. This was going around. David posted these on his Twitter. It says, took these pics while listening to album mixes. Now, this ended up becoming the front cover of his Withered album with some animations on there. I believe this is the forest where he posted the picture of 14 spray painted on a rock. This actually does look a lot like the...
I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry. With all these hidden messages and all this stuff, it's really giving off weirdo activity. Like, I don't know if you picked up on a weirdo vibes from listening to his music and stuff, but it's just this whole mysterious, I ain't gonna lie, it's borderline demonic, but just this whole vibe is just weird.
A little walk that he went on with Celeste where she was seen in her last picture, but I can't confirm that. And that's David looking like a little bitch. So, and that's a hoodie that Celeste was seen.
Yo, and if you've seen pictures of David, the dude look like he's like 5'2". And, Celeste, she could have been just as tall as him, but, she weighed, she was very petite. So, if there was, like, the question is, do you think David acted alone or were there multiple people involved in this situation? David and Celeste, like they was around the same weight class. This dude is like 5'2" or whatever it is, 5'4". I don't know, man, that the Asian dude look like he's taller than him. And, normally, Asian people are kind of on the shorter side, so it's kind of crazy. Wait, what you say, D-Love? Yeah, exactly. This is crazy. And yeah, like all that cryptic messaging, it really gives off demonic vibes. I'm not gonna lie. Like, just it's like he's really trying too hard. It's like he's trying to prove something to somebody who I don't know. Some people even said that this is alleged to be a part of a bigger ring of people that mess with those type of people. So I don't know. I can't wait till more details come out, but this kind of gives you like his frame. He's not no big brolic muscular person to where like he can do everything on his own. So, I'm gonna have to find a picture to see if I can find both of them like kind of standing next to each other, because he's a small dude, so could there be somebody else involved with this? That friend that was taking a picture with him, do we have anything to do with this? Like, people are going to do what they need to do to find out what really actually happened.
Wearing in the last picture of her that was taken alive. So again, just incrimination all across the board, non-stop incrimination. But it would continue on from here, and we're still wondering how and when and why he planned and decided to execute this alleged murder. Okay, so the next thing would be on February the 4th, 2025. This is when David announces his Withered album would be released basically later on. But even more interesting, okay, he would announce in February the 4th, 2025, that this album would be coming on the 25th of April. And I wonder whether this is around the time he planned the murder, because I think there's too many coincidences. The album's called Withered, which is what happens to a body after it's beginning to decay. He posted decay a bunch of times on Discord. There's basically a bunch of little hints that I think, just in my opinion, I think he might have planned the murder, and he might have planned the murder around the album. That's my honest opinion. He said Withered the album.
Yo, see, I'm not trying to I know some people that will talk about this and they'll be on point with it, but he did this around the time of the album being released. Now, if you know anything about how the industry operates, you got people that will literally pray over a project. They'll pray over a CD to make sure whatever prayers that they want, holy, demonic, whatever it is, And allegedly, some of this stuff might actually involve some type of sacrifice. I don't want to sound like no crazy person, but I've heard this from multiple different sources. Just like how you pray over your food, why wouldn't people pray over a CD that you're releasing that it sell millions and millions of copies? And who you praying to, that will be up for discussion. And everybody don't pray to the same God. So could this have happened during the time of him dropping his album? Like, you know, this is getting very deep, and this is kind of crazy. Like, yeah, D-Love, this is low-key kind of crazy. And I don't want to, you know, get all deep in that conspiracy bag, but I've heard a lot of stuff. You know, I've dealt with a lot of people in the industry and stuff, and everybody isn't as they appear, you know, in interviews and all this other stuff or whatever. You know, people be on some real funny type of stuff or whatever. And this could be a part of something bigger than just David by himself.
25th of April. Thank you all eternally for waiting on me. The album means so much to me. You have no idea the blood, sweat, and tears that came with trying to create this project over the past 2 years. What else were you working on over 2 years, David? What else were you trying to do? Cover up blood, sweat, and tears. Crazy. Constantly starting over and over and over again till there was nothing left on this audio landscape of a canvas and thoughts, melody.
And then another thing, blood, sweat, and tears. I know that's a saying. And honestly, some of it, like, that's the thing. A lot of us make sayings or say little phrases that we really don't know the true meaning behind. But what blood was actually involved? See, that's the type of stuff that'll make you question, like, really, what blood was actually involved? So, you know, yo, shout out to Coco Goddess, man. Yeah. this like things that make you go, like for real, like, yeah, man. And then they just like, there's another thing, as they say, hiding in plain sight. So, you know, maybe this is part of the reason why this dude is admitting to all this stuff online, to where we're thinking that it's something totally innocent, but it could be totally on some other stuff.
These emotions that were unequivocally me. Pre-order the album. Okay. I think he was planning it. I think he was planning his album rollout alongside the murder. That's just my opinion, okay? So the day before Valentine's Day, and this is a very important day for David, he starts teasing his bloody t-shirts. And again, it just makes me feel like this was premeditated. So it's a tarpaulin. This isn't the sheet she was wrapped up in. I've looked into that. There was a rumor that maybe he put real blood on these shirts, but I don't think she'd been murdered at this point. But I do think he knew what he was planning. I think he knew what he was doing. I think that this was all part of the law, and he got a little bit too wrapped up in what was going on. Now, from the 12th of April to the 20th of April, which is getting closer to when the murder would have taken place, David would be performing at Coachella, and he would be partying with his friends out there. And this is also where he would debut a new red tattoo on his hand. You've seen this.
You know what? Hey, I don't mean to like. Hey, do y'all know of this lady named Marina Abramovich? The lady that's into spirit cooking and everything. Matter of fact, she kind of got on the urban scene as far as Jay-Z. I forgot what music video it was, but they was standing back and forth and everything. Matter of fact, let me go. They probably see art, rhythm, old spirit cooking, Jay-Z. It was this music video. And eventually she said that she felt like she was being used by Jay-Z. Oh shit, my bad. She felt like she was being used by Jay-Z and everything. And who knows? He possibly could have, because she didn't get what she wanted out of the whole situation when linking up. He was promising her that he would actually put more people on to the fact of her spirit cookings and a lot of other things or whatever. But yeah, this lady, Marina, she will cook with all different type of things. It's a lot of stuff. I don't have time to really break it down and explain it, but check her out. And you will understand what I'm talking about. It's really on some other world type of stuff. And it's another lady that's out there. She's in like the fashion industry, and she's this white lady with black teeth and all this stuff. And she looked like a zombie. I ain't gonna hold it. Like she looked like a damn zombie. And for me just to say all this stuff, I'm alluding to the fact that a lot of these people really participate in a lot of different activities. I was about to say, weird activities, but it's weird to people that's not into that type of stuff. And when you're into all that, Baphomet and all that crazy shit or whatever, for those people that know, they know.
Rome to the dome. Don't fight your friend. Don't fight your friend.
Tired of seeing these clowns, man, but look, it is very interesting. All right, we've got to keep holding their feet to the fire. So this is apparently where he revealed a new Jesus tattoo. Look at this.
On my hand it says Jesus. Jesus.
And it's kind of like he's mocking God. It's kind of like he's mocking God. And I don't even want to break it down even further. All right, you see how the cross is like this? But a lot of our hands, like, look, we're not always walking around like this. Our hands are like this or whatever when they're hanging. So technically that cross would be upside down. Now, if you know anything about upside down crosses, like some will try to say that that's, representation of what? Saint John, because, they said that he was crucified upside down because he wasn't worthy of being crucified like Jesus. So, this could be a whole nother video, but the signs are out there. Hey, what's up, Brian? Hey, I hope everything is good with you, bro. Man, I text you, man. Text me back, brother. But, it seemed like he's mocking everything. Well, man, yeah, for sure. I just got a message. Okay, yeah, they pretty much on point with what's happening. But yeah, for sure though. Yeah, just make note that the fact that this dude got this Jesus tattoo, and then at the same time, it seemed like he's mocking God or mocking people that that's spiritual.
It says Jesus. Jesus. Water.
So what's interesting, right, is he debuts this hand tattoo. Now, we saw this in an image posted, I believe, the day after the murder, and his hand looked a lot more sore in the middle from what looked like, trauma from stabbing somebody and the knife kind of coming back into your hand. Now that we're finding out that he got this tattoo before then, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't potentially used as a cover-up for some kind of injury. I don't think he's that smart, but hey, it is an interesting piece of the puzzle. Now, we're getting closer in the timeline to the moment the actual murder took place. So on April the 21st, 2025, allegedly 2 days before the murder took place, David would announce the pre-sale tickets to his world tour for a tour that would be beginning, or the pre-sale that will be beginning for his world tour on April the 23rd, 2025. That is the date. Pre-sale starts Wednesday, the 24th of April at 10 a.m. So I don't know if he planned it. All right. But that very date, okay, who's this guy he's talking about? He's the only celebrity to comment on this case. That's Cap. That's a bunch of Cap. But anyway, the day after this announcement.
Wait, hold up. I think I got a comment in here. Oh man, here we go again, man. AD Love, your boy's off that sugar again, man. He said, if you're black, you're always walking around with your hands up. Golly, come on now. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm missing from Brian being on the stream, man. This dude always got these crazy jokes, man. D Love said, hey, Coco Goddess. D-Love said, hey, Brian also. But yeah, man, Brian is a complete fool, man.
And the day before the alleged murder, that's when David would post an interesting photo dump on his Instagram, okay? My last photo dump before my album drops, that's crazy. Also, the last photo dump before you allegedly committed a heinous murder that will put you away for life. Very interesting, okay? Got a different cross on his hand, or is that the same one? I don't know.
That's a different cross. And honestly, that look like that's a different hand. So that's another thing. Like, yeah, people, they're gonna do what they want to do, but that whole black nail polish that's definitely from the rock and roll scene, more on the quote unquote emo or gothic side. Yeah, what's his obsession with all these crosses on his inner palm? I'm gonna have to do some more research on that because and then like what's this he's throwing up? That isn't like, I know if you throw this up, that's neighborhood, but what's this? What's this? Like, like symbolisms is very real, and a lot of that stuff be going over people's heads though. And that's why I guess some of them feel so bold to do it to where people just don't even like it just go over their head. What you say? Yeah, D-Love, man. Brian off that good old sugar. That good old sugar. I wouldn't be surprised if Brian's off that sugar water. You feel me?
But it looks different in this picture. Out here chilling with the guys. Won't be doing that for a long time. Very interesting. Straight crash dummy behavior. All right. So that's now we get to the current timeline. So this will be some stuff you've seen before, but now you've got all the context. You'll be able to understand it more. So on the day of the alleged murder, that's when David announces his album, all right, is dropping the next day. Okay. Not only that, he shows off the album, he's dancing around, but that is Celeste's handbag in the background. All right. We know that's Celeste's handbag in the background. So we know that she probably came to his property at this point, brought her bag, unless it was left there from a time before. But it seems like
what the fuck is this dude doing, bro? Like, yeah, I swear, like people are weird. Oh, you roll it. Hey, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, Brian off that. Man, I ain't had no sugar water in a long ass time, but that's like the poor man's Kool-Aid. But yeah, man, back to David, bro. My album drops tomorrow, and this dude over here twerking and stuff. And Traveler Ross is saying allegedly this is around the time that she ended up going missing.
Best guess would be that she came to his property. She was enticed and lured to the property by him, and he's doing all this promo. He's still got a promo run that he's got to do. He's got to fit in a little murder while he's doing a promo run. It's actually crazy. So the murder allegedly goes down this very day while he's doing all this nonsense. And then the very day after, that's when he announces that his Withered World tour would be on sale in countries all over the world. So we don't want to get any, we don't want to give him any promo.
Yeah, mute that audio.
But basically, officially on sale in every city, and the album drops tonight. Imagine him sat there doing these promo posts while a body is literally rotting in his property. It's insanity.
I'm not going to lie. Hey, I'm gonna put the link in the description, and for those that want to join, join the conversation, drop some knowledge, drop some nuggets. You're gonna have to pull up to the video that's full screen, not the vertical video. The vertical video, for some reason, the StreamYard links do not work. But on the full screen video, you can pull up, click the link. It's highlighted blue. You don't have to get on camera. You feel me? Just say whatever you gotta say. And what Brian say, man? Brown sugar or white sugar is the question. How about both of them? How about both of them, bro? But yeah, this do sound like some, alleged ritualistic type of stuff, man. Normal people wouldn't be happy. To be honest with you, at the end of the day, unless you're just some cold-blooded, what's that, psychopath, sociopath, whichever one that actually fits. But if you really on that, yeah, you can do that to somebody, and you could be going to church the next day. Or going, celebrating somebody's birthday, having a party the same night type stuff or whatever, where it's not on your conscience. So for this dude to be out there celebrating all this other stuff, this is my belief and this is my opinion. This has something to do not with just her telling, but possibly, for the success of his album, and like I said before, we might have to do a whole nother live about the industry stuff that I've seen, or the industry stuff that's kind of talked about or known. And it's not necessarily a popular opinion, but there's so much evidence out there that's showing what's exactly going on with everything. So yeah, man, this music industry stuff is not exactly what you think it is.
And he would make more posts. He would post about his album. Okay, my album out now. Let's effing go. Thank you all. Love you. He's out here cheesing as a body's rotting in his home. It is unfathomable. Now, if you want to know more about how he actually ended up going on tour and, allegedly just swanning off after the murder happened, go and watch the video that I posted yesterday about the new David timeline gets even worse. That's much more of a look at the actual timeline of how the events went down and how the actual days around the murder played out. So go and look at that if you want more information on specifically what he was doing in the days after. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to just under a week after the murder took place, to April the 28th, 2025. And what you'll see there is this is when David appears in an interview and he talks about his project, and there's some interesting tidbits in there. So we'll look at a few minutes of this.
So we talk about like the interludes and like even the verbal exchanges, because they really do punctuate.
So it's talking about the interludes and the verbal exchanges on the album. The album has interludes where Celeste's voice is heard. So she is dead, potentially rotting in his property while he's off doing these interviews. Now, we don't know exactly when he popped out for this interview, but the interviewer is aware of the skits on the album. So it's likely, unless they got an advance copy and did this interview before the album even dropped, the album would have been out at this point, probably a few days before this, 3 days before this. And I wonder whether this was a quick interview they recorded that they put it out straight after. But the fact.
Well, hold on. Hey, Brian also said, can't wait for the Netflix documentary. It's coming, shaking my head. Hey, for y'all that's going to watch this on the replay, for y'all that's watching, do y'all think that there's going to be a Netflix documentary that's popping off from this? This has been very viral, and I wouldn't be surprised if Diddy himself had his own documentary. No, David isn't on the same level of a Diddy, but the salaciousness of what happened and what transpired, I think that will actually qualify. Somebody actually lost their life. So this whole situation, like I said, is very crazy. And we're in a capitalistic society to where it's all about money. So why not? So it would be hard for me to believe that they wouldn't pursue any type of, documentary, some little small series. That'd be crazy if they had like some little Lifetime small series to where, if his name isn't, it'd probably say David, but spelled the correct way. And instead of Celeste, it'd be Chanel or something, to where, they lightly play off of the real names, but just try to, make it, loosely based off of it. So, I won't be surprised, Brian, like for sure. For sure. Yeah, D-Love said, yep. Coco Goddess said, yep. Yeah, see, so that's what I'm saying. Like, they got his trial going on, or not going on, but he's already locked up. And the homie Set in the West said this the other day, like, they've been kind of stalling on some stuff or whatever. And the fact that he want to do a speedy trial, or he was advised to do a speedy trial, that's one of the ways that people said that he might get off, because if you rushed a speedy trial right now, they wouldn't have the proper evidence to convict. So that's the only way that he can get off. But, they hit you with so many charges to where you might have got off on 8 of the charges, but the 2 that stuck ended up giving you 15, 20 years to life type stuff. So we're going to have to see how this transpire and how this play out for sure.
The fact that he is put on the spot and asked about the skits on the album, and he's talking about the woman that he allegedly killed, is chilling. And seeing how he tackles this question with everything that's going on.
My bad. I'm gonna get back to the video. But hey, if y'all haven't done so, smash up that like. I need to see y'all support. Get me in the algorithm and stuff. We go live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Try to do it around the same time, around 8 o'clock and everything. Sometimes I have special guests. I know the next live I'm gonna have, I got somebody special lined up. Y'all don't want to miss this. Brian said, I hope it's not Lifetime movies. Lifetime be getting me hooked. used to be late for work trying to catch the ending. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Put your mind into this man's body and just imagine you're at an interview being asked questions about a girl that appeared on the interludes of your album, and she is literally at home rotting in your property. How insane is this? And for him to even be able to tackle this type of question just shows psychopathy on another level.
Wait, the album. And like there's some exchanges between you and a female. Seems to be your love interest, right? What is that adding to the
Oh, confirmed, yeah. That's your love interest that's on the album. What's the underage one that's dead?
story?
It's a whole different layer of depth for an album. I feel like, especially for me, when I'm having dialogue now and things that add to the story, I'm talking about the invisible string theory, which is a common theme and one of the most the motifs for the project. I really wanted the listeners to feel like they're reading a book almost, and they get into a different chapter with every song. But there's also that kind of pause where they can take every song in by itself and then have this kind of visual landscape in this interlude to kind of be in my head, in my mindset, and why I wrote the project like this and how everything went, just to like keep them even more interested and connected throughout the project for sure.
At the end of the interlude, correct me if I'm wrong here, she says, I love you. You don't respond. She says, I love you again. It repeats itself and you don't respond. Was that done purposely?
Absolutely, because the next song after that is This Really Love? So it's kind of like a lead into that kind of a transition type thing, you know?
So the fact that he is just smiling like a Cheshire cat while they're talking about, oh, you said you didn't say you loved the person back on the song. It's just dark. And the fact that he can sit there with a straight face and a smile talking about somebody that was literally rotting, who's on the album, is just insanity. So let's keep going for a few minutes.
So it's kind of like a lead into that kind of a transition type thing, you know?
I believe the last time you were here, didn't you say you never experienced love or hadn't been in love? You didn't?
Yeah, I wasn't in a relationship then. Nah.
But today you are? Or you
I've been through a couple. I'm single still right now, but I've been through a few, and they've taught me a lot
Look
of
at
things.
his facial
I'm single
expressions,
still
man.
right.
Talking about I'm a single still right now. You're not talking about how your minor girlfriend just got murdered days before this.
In a relationship then. Nah.
But today.
Hey, another thing. This dude said that he's single now, and we know that he was dealing with this person that was underage. And if this dude is single now, could it be that this dude's a weirdo? You know, for somebody to be interested in somebody that's like that, you gotta have some screws loose in your head, man. You gotta have some personality flaws that will strike somebody that's of your age or a little bit older a certain way to where you can't find these connections. That happen with people that's older. You know, you get these older people that all of a sudden they don't want to, they be in their 30s, their 40s. They don't want to date in their 30s or their 40s. They want to get somebody 18, 19, because the people that's in their 30s and 40s, they don't want to mess with them for whatever reason. Could be attitude, could be maturity level, could be accountability, just a lot of things. So, yeah, I would believe that old boy will possibly still be single and stuff because, yeah, he probably is a weirdo, you know?
You are? Or you are?
I've been through a couple. I'm single still right now, but I've been through a few.
He does these little ticks. There was the other one where they were asking about the girl, and he was like, "Oh, I can't tell you who that is for copyright reasons." When he's got these tells. He's got these tells. He goes out of his body. He turns into a different person when he's confronted about some of this stuff, and I think that's one of those examples.
Today you are? Or you are?
I've been through a couple. I'm single still right now, but I've been through a few, and they've taught me a lot of things, and they've shown me what love is and what love isn't, and how to approach it, and how to be human with it, and not be so artist, you know, and not look for the things to write about in these types of situations. And I've kind of been more mature about it and getting emotionally intelligent with it. And with this interlude, it's kind of like telling my view on what the invisible string theory is, or the scarlet string, or the whatever. This is so many different names.
Is that like that? Is it also connected to like the rope that's around?
Yes,
in the
album
video?
cover, I'm covered in this string, which is representative of the invisible string theory. But throughout the entire project, I wanted everything to feel connected. I wanted everything to feel holistic and have a through line that everybody could understand. And with the interlude, it's kind of explaining from my perspective how it was taught to me, because that's a real conversation that happened. And the irony of it was that person that was saying, I love you, she's not in my life anymore. So it's like,
she's dead. What's wrong with this guy? just gives me chills, man. Like, not in a good way.
And the irony of it was that person that was saying, I love you, she's not in my life anymore. So it's like, people say that the string can't be cut and the connection cannot be severed, but I feel like it can sometimes. And that's why I wanted to put, afterlife. And
Severed, yeah? Severed.
Cannot be severed, but I feel like it can sometimes.
And to break it down for those that don't know, like the invisible string theory is like a popular romantic concept suggesting people are destined for each other, connected by an unseen, unbreakable thread. You feel me? So this is how he's breaking everything down and I'm not gonna lie, I believe that he's saying this because the connection to Celeste, but I don't know.
And that's why I wanted to put afterlife and all these songs that feel like endings and
afterlife, yeah,
conclusions and goodbyes on the project to kind of solidify that message of this is the end of something, not the beginning.
And can you break down the invisible string theory?
Is it the end of something, the end of someone's life, maybe?
Yeah, so basically it's like this, it's a South Korean ideology.
So anyway, all right, let's move on. You can go and watch this interview because there's a lot to it and there's a lot of self-snitching going on in this. But anyway, okay, David just kept on going with his life. He's doing interviews talking about the person he murdered, all right, in a weird little way. And basically, he would essentially go missing for 5 days. Okay, we talked in the previous video about the timeline in between him doing his shows and these appearances and these press runs. For 5 days, right at the start of May, he basically disappeared. He didn't post. But in the days basically leading up to the dismemberment, okay, in the last days of April before he disappears for 5 days, probably working on cutting up this body, he posts several TikToks and he floods the market and he finishes his promo run. Then he withdraws and allegedly cuts up this body. So this is what he's posting. We got a #1 album debut on Spotify. Thank you all. He's so happy. So he's just living his life, going on, loving life with his album, performing well with a body rotting in his property. All right. Listening to you and I again. We need more of this on the Withered Deluxe album. And again, if you look at his hand, that ain't the same clean cut looking skull that we saw previously, is it? That's looking more like a wound with like not skull, sorry, a cross.
Yeah, that definitely look like a wound. Yeah. And if you're familiar with any of that like dealing with knives and stuff like that, you definitely could end up cutting yourself. So could that be the reason?
Barely even a cross underneath it. That's looking like a wound on his hand. So very, very suspect stuff that's going on here, okay? And he's just snitching on himself nonstop. So he does this bullshit over and over again. Was Afterlife a good outro for the album? I don't know. I really love it. I hate this guy, man. I actually hate this guy's face. I'm tired of this guy's face. I wanted to catch that fade when I saw him in court. I'm not going to lie. Him bopping his head. He's going to be doing that in the county for sure. He's going to be bopping his head. If he gets out of, if he ends up in Gen Pop, he will be bopping his head for sure. Anyway, all right. After allegedly taking 5 days off to cut up the body and disappear from social media after being a prolific digital weirdo that just posts all the time, narcissist, he finally makes his first post. So this will be his first TikTok post after allegedly destroying the body. And he said, Afterlife Live is going to hit different on tour with a crying face. Give me a break. So this is the same song that had him crying on stage. And he's taken 5 days off to cut up the body, allegedly. And now he's talking about Afterlife Live going to hit different on tour. Now we know why. Now we know why it's going to hit different. Now, several months pass. He thinks he's gotten away with it. Nothing happens. And that's when we get to September the 7th, 2025. And this is Celeste's birthday when David announces the deluxe edition of his album, Marcescence, the Withered Deluxe. Every song written exclusively by me on my phone, baby. This is a passion project. I put it together to make sure I didn't lose the raw emotional weight that my music carries and how much it means to you all. Thank you to all of the friends who collaborated with me on this. Everyone ate their verses up, all right? And that's his homies. That's his homies, all right? A lot of people said it looked like this was an arm cut off, all right? Super creepy. Super, super creepy, okay? Now, you might have already seen this, but the word marcescence has a very distinct definition.
Marcescence?
Okay? This is all related to decay, rotting of bodies. Withered already relates to it, and marcescence does too.
Is the phenomenon of trees keeping their dead leaves throughout the winter. Oaks are especially known as marcescent trees, but marcescence can be found in many other types of trees, especially when they're younger. Marcescence is a poetic word in much the same way.
especially when they're younger, bro. Fucking come on.
That petrichor, the earthy, warm smell after a much-needed rain, is. I am stubbornly devoted to these limited use case words. I cling to them and refuse to let go, much like a marcescent leaf clings to its branch through the long, cold winter. Marcescence is the phenomenon of...
Bro. Just the fact that it's just, you hear all these details, and it relates to, you know, more like younger trees. And it's just like, bro, this guy is twisted. He was obsessed with death and murder. And I think that all of the music, all of it was related to what happened. That's just my opinion. So on September the 9th, 2025, this was just a day after Celeste's body is discovered in the Tesla. David would pop out in a shirt that said 97. Very interesting. David's last footage after the body was found and a day before Celeste was identified, he's wearing a shirt that says 97 on it. Now, some people think that this is a little hidden message. Okay, you got 97 on the T, 97. It says the very next day, he wore a 97 shirt, and that's Celeste's birthday, the 7th of September. And he continued the tour as if nothing happened until September 16th. The very next day, the body was identified as Celeste Rivas, then he cancelled the tour. The nerve of him to wear that shirt, looking unhinged in all of the moments.
That's what I'm saying. Like, do y'all really believe that a lot of this stuff that's being done, that he's putting out there, is just by mere coincidence? Like, it can't be possible. What'd you say, Brian? I would love to see David's psychological profile. I would also. Like, something isn't right, you know? And I don't think a lot of these people that's been putting all these different pieces of data together, I don't think that they're wrong. You know, we have the internet narrative of what's going on, his social media behavior, the posts, the deletions, the edits, his silence, like all that stuff speaks volumes. Like, man, I'm telling you, the timeline don't even seem like it matches up, like in a way to where he'll be innocent. The timeline low-key kind of puts him in the trigger hairs of him doing it, you know, allegedly. So all this stuff, like, it's just coming out to the light. And I don't know if he's going to go through with this speedy trial stuff, because I believe, like, they might not have the actual weapon that actually unalived her or whatever, but if you have a witness, somebody that'll pinpoint you to this crime, that's enough evidence that they need. And it's crazy that, you know, it can be kind of on some he say, she say, but you got to prove without a reasonable doubt that you're innocent. So, you know, if you can't do that, then it's going to be good luck for you, buddy.
Laughing, throwing laboo-boos, and having a good time is beyond sick. He looks like his breath stinks. He's an ugly, stinky PDF. That sums it up. Okay, so look, I think he probably did plan this, honestly, and it is just my opinion. Everything's alleged in my opinion, but I think he probably did plan this in January. I think that he knew he was rumbled and he was paying off the friends in Lake Elsinore. I think that was his plan. He allegedly gave out a few $1,000s to kids to keep quiet about the situation. I don't think it was working, so I think he brought Celeste back into his orbit in December and January. I don't think that worked out, because then he was talking about, I'm just so painfully sad at the moment. And then I think it was that period. I think it was probably February, in my opinion, 2025, that he made the decision that he was going to do this, and he planned it out. I think he planned the ambush for April, had her come round in the midst of all of his album stuff going on, and he did the deed, allegedly, in my opinion. That's just what I think. But let me know what you guys think of that timeline, man. I'll be back. I do have another David video I want to film today, but I don't know if I'm going to have time. I need to pop out. Got some family stuff going on right now. But I will have 2 videos for you guys very soon. Could be today, could be tomorrow. I've got a UFO video. But yeah, that's the latest on David, and I do think it's bad news. Okay, so I'll catch you guys in the next video. That's what I think happened. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll keep you guys posted. And there should be some more court dates soon. And I'm hoping to pop out maybe in like 2-3 dates time. Maybe I'll keep you guys posted. But thank you so much for watching and supporting, and I will have more info for you guys soon. Appreciate it. Peace.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you want and watch it take shape.
Yeah, man.
You can plan.
It's not looking too good for him right now. What'd you say, bro? Wait, hold on, let me fix this. That the subconscious brain is a crazy thing. Sometimes the ID wants to make a statement that the conscience doesn't want to deal with. Hey, and that's real talk. Like, honestly, that's the thing. Like, he really, with him going absent on social media during certain times and stuff like that, you know, people can look at that as a form of guilt. I doubt he was actually coping in a sad way that this girl isn't here anymore. So it don't look too good for David. There's going to be a lot of updates that's going to be coming. And I know some people that's going to be like boots on the ground with this situation. It's happening out here in LA. So I might even pull up, you know, just to try to get some inside information or to see how this whole proceeding actually proceeds. Because it's sad that this young girl lost her life dealing with, you know, this allegedly dealing with this young dude that apparently don't have his mind all together. Now, we have his relative saying that he needs to be put away for life. If I'm not mistaken, I think either it was his brother or her parents said that he needs the D penalty. And I ain't talking about that other D, you know what I'm saying? That word that we can't really say on YouTube like that. He needs that penalty, you feel me? So, you know, a lot of stuff is definitely going to be a lot of stones are going to be a lot of stones are going to be turned. Let's just say that, because it's a lot of questions that's out there, and along with, you know, David, his close associates, his brother. I don't think his brother is like on the radar like that. No, Brian, not deodorant, Brian. We can say that D word, but the other D word with the where you're not going to be here no more. That penalty. You feel me? But no, you know, all this is going to tie in to basically showing that he's a POS. And y'all know what that means. So RIP to Celeste. You know, even if she was a runaway and all this stuff or whatever, she didn't deserve to lose her life. I believe a lot of this stuff is very unfortunate, man. Because the whole thing stinks. Yes, this whole situation do stink. A young girl lost her life. A young black boy, allegedly confused, is about to lose his life to the system. I don't think he's going to get away with this. And if I'm wrong about whatever this is, I wouldn't mind coming back on here on my platform and say, hey, you know, I was wrong about this. I was wrong about that. You know, but I'm going to put it out there right now. I think he is guilty of this stuff. I think further evidence will prove his guilt. And like I said before, if you've seen how they did Diddy recently, he wasn't even convicted for a lot of the other stuff that people wanted him to be convicted of. Like, they throw a lot of charges on you. Like, you can do one thing, but they'll try to make up 6 to 10 charges on you to where, like I said, you might get away with the actual thing that they charge you with initially, but they can't prove it. So if they can't prove it, the next thing you know, you walk scot-free. So it's just it's very crazy that it took this amount of time just to get him up out of here. And I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't be surprised if Celeste's parents end up testifying, you know, or they be looked at, and not being somebody that's involved with her unalivement firsthand, but just by negligence. If you knew where she was at and you didn't do anything to get her back and stuff like that, or if you took some type of money, because we seen that he was out there giving money to kids to keep it hush hush. So is that another situation that he was trying to keep hush hush between the parents? Because that's what I'm saying. Like Trap Lord Ross just showed a picture of David going to wherever he was at, giving out $1,000 to these kids. Now he became popular on TikTok. People was really messing with his music and stuff, and he was able to monetize his craft. So I know he developed a lot of money within a couple of years of performing on these different platforms. He's out there doing tours and all this other stuff. So I don't think it would have been that crazy of a problem for him to give the parents a hefty amount of money just to keep shush. You feel me? So, you know, this, like I said, things are going to really pan out, and we're going to see what's the truth behind all this stuff. Like I said, I really think he's guilty of a lot of the stuff that they're claiming that he did. Did he work by himself? That's up for debate. That's up for debate. Like I said before, they both around the same weight class. So, you know, a man is normally stronger than a woman and everything. They both young, so I don't think he was strong like that. But still, he's stronger than her. So it could have been somebody, he could have been by himself, or he could have had some help. But like I said, I'm gonna keep y'all updated with everything. I appreciate everybody that pulled up on all these different multiple platforms. Before y'all leave, hit that like button, you feel. If y'all haven't done so, hit that subscribe also. I appreciate everything. Like, we've been rolling. We on the road to 200 subscribers, and we're gonna be there very soon. Like, we're just trying to get 100 subscribers. Now we're about to be at 200. The page is gonna be monetized very soon. So, like I said, I appreciate all y'all for pulling up. And on that note, I'm out. Y'all have a good night.
Yo, you now rocking with classic music. Now what I want you to do is hit that like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Yeah, let's get it.